Okay, so I'm going to start again with the first question. Who are you right now?
I would like to think I am the person at my basic, the same person I've been, which is a creative impulse, an impulse to create, to build, to change, um, and that has been reflected over the last 62 years of my life in writing music, producing a movie, writing a book, starting a dozen companies, um, uh,
Wow.
helping unlock the potential in other people by inspiring and training for about a year. I basically marketed motivational speakers to salespeople and was part of delivering that sort of motivational content to them.
Hmm.
Again, to me, that's a creative process because the person who leaves my presence after sharing that sort of motivational information content experiences with them is a new thing. It's a thing that wasn't there before. It just
Hmm.
happens to be a person. And so, at my very essence, who I am is I am the creative impulse of the universe.
Wow, that's great. Um, so looking back, what do you think has most shaped that? The people, places, experiences. So more from the human perspective, family, parents, friends, mentors, teachers, and such. Especially if you can think about times of challenge and how you overcame them, and whether it was the human contact that helped with that or facilitated it.
Yeah, as far as what is the basis, the human basis of this sort of creative impulse? It's a culmination of, I guess, a lot of things. My parents were not creative people, so it didn't
Mm.
come from them. Um, my early teachers were tremendous teachers. There's no doubt in my mind that my elementary school teachers, not all of them, but a few of the key
Yeah.
ones, were just incredibly positive, joyous people who loved the
Cool.
kids and loved inspiring them to learn, to do, to be, to create. No doubt about that. Although I think I'm just wired that way,
Hmm.
at my core, because my sisters had the identical teachers and upbringing, and
Hmm.
zero in creativity, or even an impulse to create in them. So hard to say exactly what people would have done that. Again, I think I'm just wired this way. I've always had a tremendous fascination with language. And or from an early time, I love to read, I love to write, I love to create poems,
Cool.
matching sounds together. How cool
Yeah.
is that? Oh,
Yeah.
um, and it always has just really stimulated something in me when I see something that's just so beautifully articulated through language. One of the reasons I was very good at language when I was growing up, learning other languages, is that I just wanted to know, I wanted to hear, I wanted to understand the differences between the language I spoke and the other ways people communicated, and sort of seeing the through line of language, regardless of what the vocabulary is per se. So
Well, so is that because you are, I'm going to use the word attuned to sound? I mean, do you have perfect pitch? Like, is there something in your physical makeup that's actually driving some of that?
I think there must be, I'm a believer that we all vibrate, a certain vibration, certain frequency, and those frequencies align and synchronize with other frequencies in the world.
Mhm.
My frequency, I think, clearly heavy audio, but also visual. I mean, like
Mhm.
most men, I think supposedly men are more visual, than women are, but tremendous amount of visual stimulation as well, or input or vibration. But yeah, I think without question, there's some wiring to that that's just in me that gets gets to the soul of who I am. I mean, it's just I am completely goofy when music's around. You can see here in the background, I got a
Yeah,
guitar. I've got two
guitar.
guitars over there. I got a keyboard over there. I spend half my free time producing music that I've written, and that nothing gives me more satisfaction and fulfillment and sense of wholeness, and scratching that impulsive, or excuse me, that creative impulse itch, than that.
And so were you always able to do the things that you wanted to do? I mean, did you never have any obstacles to actually getting your work out?
Uh, I mean, like any learned skill. There was just learning to play. Now, I might have taken to it quicker, but it's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of practice and a tremendous amount of commitment to being able to become proficient enough in an instrument to, make it sound like you want it to sound, or to create the music and the melody and the accompaniment you want to create. I think it's typical sort of challenges. I do remember as I learned, there were tremendous peaks, ramp up and then plateau of skill,
Right.
where, oh wow, I'm learning really fast, and then nothing. There's just, I'm not getting better, I'm not getting better, I'm not getting better, and then just powering through that to more improvement, until I'm competent enough. I've never put in enough time to go play with a symphony orchestra or something, but enough to do what I wanted it to do, which was to create, basically.
Right. But I also noticed that you have obviously a really strong drive
Hmm.
to accomplish no
Hmm.
matter what you're talking about because you're
Yeah.
clearly prolific in many different areas. Business, music, writing. What do you think accounts for that drive? Where's that drive coming from?
Uh, so there are some theories around this. I was adopted,
Oh,
and adoptees are many adoptees, certainly not all adoptees, but adoptees are famously overachievers. There's a book
hmm.
called there was a seminal work on this called "The Journey of the Adopted Self," and it's talks about adoptees have this overwhelming desire to what they call to demonstrate, or to create what they call the provings. I think that's what it's called, the provings,
Hmm.
where you're doing things so that you can prove that you are worthy. That you shouldn't have been given up for adoption. That they were wrong to give you up, and I'm going to show them.
Wow.
And it's nothing that's mean spirited or vengeful. It's really a self-coping mechanism, right? That says, I'm not going to really show them. I'm going to show me that I was worth, that I'm worth it. Which is, my parents were wonderful. My parents who raised me, wonderful, incredible, loving people. Like, I wouldn't trade them for the
Right.
world. That's not the point. There's something in the lizard brain of an adoptee that often creates this unbelievable drive to do things.
Hmm.
Famous adoptees: Steve Jobs, Dave. Dave, the Wendy's guy, David, God, I can't remember his last name. David,
I mean,
whatever.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, and it's pretty common that basically I'm gonna show the universe. um,
Wow.
so I'm sure there's some of that in there. But the other part, I think, is I'm just really interested and very fascinated, very curious. I want to know everything. I want to try everything. I want to learn everything. I want to do
Hmm.
everything. I think it was with you I shared this George Bernard Shaw quote, right?
Yeah.
Was it you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most extraordinary quote of all time. Go look it up. If you like, listeners, but because I won't repeat it now, but it's, I feel like hey, I've got limited time. I want to be sort of thoroughly used up when when I'm done. I
Yeah,
want to have done everything I wanted to do. I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to have any holes in the resume, not in terms of business accomplishments, but in terms of life experience.
right. Well, yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, one of the questions that comes out of that is
Mhm.
when actually do parents tell their child that they've been adopted? So, how long did you know?
I've known since I was conscious. I've known
Wow.
since the day I can remember knowing. Yeah, it was
Wow. Okay.
never kept from me.
I
It
see.
was, yeah, it was, the way my parents described it to me from the, as little as I can remember. A lot of people have children, um, but we so wanted children that we went and chose you. Like we
Yes.
really
That's
wanted
great.
children, and you're who we're stuck with. No, they didn't say that.
Yeah. You were special, clearly.
Well, yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. To this day, I'm just so impressed with and grateful for and just awed by people who make the choice to adopt a child.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
great. So the last question is, where has technology played a role, harmful or helpful, in your life to, again, overcome obstacles, to teach you something new about who you are, and cultivated you as well to becoming who you are in the present moment?
Yeah, so I've always been a very early adopter of technology because I've always seen various technology tools as just that, tools to help
Hmm.
me do the things I'm trying to do. So when you can record something you're playing directly onto a computer. Well, that was a new
Hmm.
technology that I was very quick to adapt to. When I was very early on the cell phone. I had a cell phone in 1987, which was,
Wow.
is almost not quite as early, but almost as early as you could have a cell phone. And again, it was just to facilitate
Hmm.
and facilitate communication, and more importantly, allow me to have communication on demand. Like
Right.
I can just talk to somebody right now, now. um, how it cultivated and shaped me, I'm not sure. You know, I certainly use technology to do things that used to be manual, whether it's addition or organizing thoughts or a spreadsheet or whatever.
Hmm.
But I've also typed a manuscript, on a typewriter. I could do that again.
Hmm.
I could
Hmm.
write it out longhand. And so it's not as if technology has supplanted or obsoleted my ability to do those things on my own.
Right.
But it certainly allowed me to maybe go faster and do so in a more streamlined, organized way than I would have without technology. I don't
So,
feel any negative effects of tech. I guess I don't feel any negative effects of technology. I certainly see it in other people, right? Where social media has been, I think, devastating to the world. Helpful, this much, and harmful this much. And I see that in other people, but I guard against that. I'm always
mhm.
trying to make sure I am calling balls and strikes, if you will, and seeing what is real through the noise.
Was that early adoption of technology for business purposes?
Some of it,
Getting the
like I said,
cell
my
phone, being available for communication?
That certainly was.
Mhm.
But my Macintosh, my first computer was a Mac 2, right? Way before the iMac or way before the true Macintosh. I had a Mac 2, which was like the second generation Apple. Um, and I got it for creative purposes,
Mhm.
where even back then, Apple was considered to be more of a creator or artist device, whereas the PC was more of a business sort of admin device, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so, it just depends on the tool, but a cell phone for sure. I was driving 45 minutes to work back and forth when I was a young stockbroker, and I
Right.
needed to talk to people when I was in the car an hour and a half a day.
Right. Right. And so now with the advent of AI,
Hmm.
You told a great story about music and using it
Yeah,
for your music.
yeah, yeah.
Um, where do you see that going?
Super interesting. There's all kinds of philosophical discussions around this, but for the benefit of people watching this for the first time or watching me for the first time, which is everybody. Uh, yeah, I've been a songwriter my whole life, and my songwriting partner and I have recorded lots of our songs in sort of very rudimentary demo fashion, just so they can be
Hmm.
articulated. The ideas can be articulated. But there's been just in the last several months, there's been new AI platforms, websites that have AI behind them that allow me to take a very rudimentary version of my song, upload it to AI, and then tell the AI to fully produce it with all the instruments and all the arrangements and all the sounds that a
Amazing.
country rock song would have. Or, hey, do this with a woman's voice and a little bit more of a bluesy feel. And I can tell it to do that, and it'll give me in 5 minutes, it'll give me multiple different
Wow.
finished products of different, slightly different styles. And I can say, yep, that is exactly kind of the sound I was going for. And I have an absolutely finished product that you'd hear on the radio, that I can then do stuff with. Now, that would have taken me months in the studio.
Hmm.
Well, not months, but a single song would have taken me certainly hours or days in a studio.
Hmm.
That's if I had all the musicians, and
Hmm.
if I had the chops to arrange it and produce the sound in a way that was, competent enough, which I don't. I can arrange them, but I can't get the sound of the guitar to
Right.
sound exactly like one. It would have taken me $10,000 in a week to do that song in a studio. And in 5 minutes with AI, I had a fully produced
Right.
song. Although I created the words and I created the music and I created the melody, it perfectly represented what was in my mind's eye, but I had to coach it. So for now, AI is a tool that
Yeah.
is meant to be, interfaced with and driven by and informed by a thinking human being. Um, that's changing rapidly, though.
Hmm. I think that's fascinating because I'm wondering, and this is the next question here, is that, would you say that AI is helping you project more accurately your own vision for that music? In other words, before AI, people weren't able to hear necessarily exactly what was in
Yeah,
your mind's ear, so to
yeah,
speak, what you had
yeah,
envisioned it to be.
yeah,
But now, getting this multiplicity of possible expressions, you can
yeah.
pick the one that you really meant to get out.
That is exactly right. And I can iterate infinitely. I mean, it costs
Right.
so little. It really does that I can have 50 productions to choose from.
Hmm.
In one case, literally the musical introduction was too long. The
Hmm.
instrumental introduction to a song was too long, and I said, stat. It cut it out, and it had
Right.
a shorter introduction. Which again it would be like me commanding a room full of musicians, like, do it this way.
Right.
And that is very much a lot. It's giving me all kinds of excitement and enthusiasm to create more, because one of the challenges I've had in creating is that I create a lot of stuff, halfway, three quarters, and it's never quite finished. Well, it doesn't have to be now. I can actually sort of get it to a spot. I can upload it. The AI can produce it, and
Hmm.
that produced three-quarter version can now really inspire me and get me excited about, oh, get it finished, and let's get it fully produced.
Hmm.
That is, I think, clearly unlocking more creativity for me, as it does for just regular writing tools, regular writing projects where I had to update my book. I wrote a book 10 years ago. It was due for a second edition,
Hmm.
and I uploaded my manuscript from my first book. I
Right.
said, AI, analyze this book, and now go out and research the microcap stock universe
Right.
for any developments in the 10 years that should be included in this book. to make it a comprehensive work,
Right.
for educating people on these kinds of investments, and then give me an outline. All I asked was for an outline, and it
Right.
gave me basically, you should have four new chapters, and you should rearrange these three chapters. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
I could sit there and agonize for weeks about, oh, should I change this or should I? And it's given me sort of, it's not quite empirical because it's limited by its own
Hmm.
research purview, but it's
Yes.
still giving me ideas at a pace, and breadth, that, maybe I don't necessarily, as a human being, I don't have that confidence to, oh, should I try putting that in there? And it's giving me more form to my own thoughts, if that makes sense.
And also confidence.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's
Yeah.
great. Um, Anything else that you would like to comment on looking back?
Yeah, I think that's a fair, sort of characterization where, it's not quite the singularity where man and machine become one, but it is definitely like having a super supportive, super creative,
Mhm.
super encouraging assistant,
Yes.
with lots of skills, and lots of experience to nudge me along, to sort of keep the momentum going, and facilitating that momentum, without question. Yeah.
That's so cool. You're very enthusiastic. I love it. Thank you so much.
Well,
And
thank you for having me.